Hey BookTube! Chelsea, the Reading Outlaw, here to present for you guys a four-way graphic novel review. As you guys can probably tell from the title, that means that I'm going to be reviewing 4 different installments of 4 different graphic novels. So I'm going to try my hardest to talk about them without spoilers and without kind of getting too much into any details that might ruin things for you guys. Some of them are really far into the graphic novel run, some of them are much closer to the beginning, but all of them I loved. I think the lowest one in the pile still got a 3-star rating for me, and everything went up from there. So at the top of the pile, and the one that is kind of the least recent one that I've read, all of these were read over the course of the past couple weeks or so, in and off my graphic novel pile. The desk at my library has been growing to kind of ridiculous proportions, so it was time to get it under control. So the first one of those is Sunstone Volume 3. You guys have heard me talk about Sunstone before, and I mentioned this in a wrap-up video that I did, but I wanted to give it a little bit more time because of how much I just absolutely adore this series. Sunstone is a lesbian BDSM graphic novel, but it is so much more than that. It gets into discussions of consent and sex as art and art as sex. There are so many really beautiful illustrations done. I'm going to try to find a page that is appropriate but still indicative. This is a good one. This will let you see the 2 main characters as well as kind of what the art style is like. But there aren't any boobies on that page, which is always something you have to double check with Sunstone. This is not only a really great discussion of BDSM relationships and consent within sexual kink, but it is also an incredibly sweet love story. Both of the main characters spend a lot of time going back and forth on whether or not they are just friends who happen to have sex because they share a similar interest in kink, or whether or not they're actually in love and how to navigate being in love with the power dynamics that come with the dominant and submissive relationship. I absolutely adore all of the characters in here. There are so many funny moments and little quips and things that just made me chuckle that I absolutely recommend picking it up. This one got 4 stars for me on Goodreads, and the artist is Stepyan Sajic, and there is the author name. The next one on the list is one that got the lowest rating for me. It got, I believe, 3.5 stars. And that is Nailbiter Volume 4, Bloodlust. This is one of those series, kind of like Saga, that the more volumes that come out, the more questions there are and the fewer answers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I definitely liked Volume 4 better than I liked Volume 3. I felt like Volume 3 was just complete filler and didn't actually progress the plot in any way. This one did. This is getting more and more into the discussion of why this small town in Oregon called Buckaroo, Oregon seems to kind of breed serial killers. This is a town that's had dozens of serial killers come out of it in the last couple of decades. And in this volume, we find out that there has been kind of an underground network of people who help family members of the serial killers out of this town and help them kind of adopt secret identities. It's gotten to the point where within the context of the graphic novel, if somebody finds out that you are from Buckaroo, Oregon, that in and of itself will be enough to cause stigma towards you. People are afraid that you are a serial killer or are going to be a serial killer, or you're somehow kind of infected with this like serial killer gene that they believe people from Buckaroo actually have. So there's this underground network of people who are trying to assist those who want to leave Buckaroo and make active and positive lives for themselves outside of that stigma. And of course, within the course of the graphic novel, those people who were setting up that kind of underground railroad and that assistive network come under attack. This does the thing that I love about Criminal Minds, and that it gives every serial killer kind of like a shtick or a thing. They get like a name and a certain way of doing things that just makes them really interesting and fascinating. It's almost very like Final Destination in that regard. But I'm ready for some answers, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep reading if all we're getting is more questions and no answers. The next 2 volumes are 5-star reads, absolutely 5-star reads. I loved them so much. The first one is Volume 3 of Lumberjanes. This one is called A Terrible Plan. I love Lumberjanes. Lumberjanes is fun. Lumberjanes is girl power. Lumberjanes is wit and chuckles. There are lesbian relationships. There is a trans character that we meet for the first time in this graphic novel. But everything in the graphic novel is geared towards young adult and middle grade readers. So everything is handled in a way that is very kind of circumspect and respectful. And I can only imagine that if you were part of the LGBTQ community and you were young enough that you were still exploring what that meant to you, just seeing the relationships in this graphic novel would have such a huge, huge impact. The other thing that I love about this book is the diversity. There are characters of color, there are different body types, there are different styles and personalities, and all of these girls manage to remain friends while having really crazy, wacky, badass monster fighting adventures. I think the thing that I love the most about this particular volume is not only the relationship between Mal and Molly, who are right here, these two, but also the parts of the issues where the other, like Mal and Molly are off having kind of a date / adventure of their own, while the other three work on trying to get a boring merit badge. They've gotten merit badges so far for like fighting centaurs and a bear woman and werewolves in the woods and all of these things, but they don't have any like actual merit badges. Like, so they spend several of the issues trying to like arrange flowers and take a cake fondant decorating class and learn how to paint a fence. But they can't do it. They end up turning everything into some kind of big battle, heroic monster adventure. And I love this graphic novel series so much. These ones did not disappoint. I loved it even more than I loved the second volume. The second volume took a little bit of a dip for me, but that's normal for me in terms of reading volumes in a graphic novel series. And I love the Lumberjanes. Friendship to the max, you guys. And the last one, which you guys probably saw in the thumbnail, should come as no surprise to you at all. I love this graphic novel series from the minute I picked up volume 1 when I was on maternity leave 18 months ago. I've read every single issue as they come into the library. This is Chew, The Last Supper by John Layman and Rob Guillory. Chew is amazing. Chew knocks it out of the park from top to bottom. The dialogue is witty and on point. The drawing style itself is absolutely hilarious. Here are some of here's a kind of a peek at the style. The whole premise behind Chew is that people can acquire different powers based on eating, and our main detective, Tony Chew, is a Sibopath, and what that means is he can take a bite of something and know its history, whether that's a fruit or a vegetable or a hamburger or a person, and he uses that power to help the FBI solve crimes and the FDA solve crimes. But as the course of the graphic novel series goes on, we find out about more and more powers that are related to eating. There are powers where you can write so well people will taste your food, or where you can craft things out of like weapons out of chocolate that actually function, or you can eat food and time travel to wherever it is that food came from, like the time period. And it's just so fascinating. The thing that I probably love about Chew more than anything else is the the little things. I tell everyone who reads, I'm like trying to find one specific scene. I tell every single person who reads Chew that this is one of those graphic novels where after you've looked at the panels and read the dialogue, you have to look at any kind of little sign, newspaper, cup on a desk, anything. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a scene that is called Jurassic Park Pandemonium. So it's a rip on Jurassic Park. And way down here in the corner is a flyer with Jeff Goldblum's picture on it from the movie Jurassic Park that said, Jurassic Park. This is a bad idea, Ian Malcolm, which is the name of Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. So there are little tiny hilarious attentions to detail like that just sets this whole series above, apart, beyond, even more than anything else that I've ever read. This is volume 11. So this one's really far into the run, but I highly, highly urge you to find Chew Volume 1, Taster's Choice, pick it up, fall in love with his characters. You will laugh your ass off every single issue, every single volume. It is phenomenal. And those are the wrap-ups, you guys. Those are the reviews that I have of what I've been reading in terms of graphic novels lately. Most of my reading from this point on is going to kind of switch gears and start to focus on the authors who are going to Mid-American. You'll see that in my Friday Reads video coming up. A lot of the things that I'm working to are related to that. But let me know down below if you've read any of these graphic novels, what some of your favorite graphic novels are, what you think of graphic novels as a genre in general. And as always, you can look me up on Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter. I am always here to talk books with you guys, and I'm all over social media. Until next time, happy reading. Bye.